friends, I'm Sharon Betters, and this is day 4 of the 12 Days of Christmas Hope brought to you by Mark Inc. Ministries. When I was much younger, I had two very favorite women in my life. One was Barbara Weldon, and the other was my Aunt Connie. And I often think of them when I think about dying, which may seem like it's a really dumb thing to do. But when I think about Christmas hope, I think about the hope we have when we are facing our own deaths, when we are facing stepping from this earth into heaven. And these two women showed me the way. Barbara and her husband Howard were prayer warriors for us, and we received that phone call that Barbara had been diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer, and we knew that there was no hope of her recovering from this terrible disease. And I'll never forget when we visited her in the hospital. It was just Chuck and me and Barbara, and we spoke for a while, and then Chuck said, "I'm going to leave you two alone," because I guess he knew that we just needed a few minutes to say goodbye. And I was wordless. I didn't know what to say, and Barbara, she picked up on that, and she took my hand and she said, "Sharon, listen, I'm not ready to go as far as leaving my husband. I don't want to leave my husband. I don't want him to be by himself, but I am ready to go because I know what is waiting for me. I know that Jesus has promised that he's never going to leave me, he's never going to forsake me, and he's going to be with me in those moments as I walk right up to heaven and step over from this earth into his presence." What a picture of dying grace, as my friend Susan Hunt calls it. And then my Aunt Connie was the favorite aunt. All of the cousins would probably claim her as their favorite and believe that we were her favorite. All of us thought that we were the favorite niece or nephew. She was so much fun, so full of life, and far sooner than any of us would have believed, she was diagnosed with a terrible, terrible cancer. And she went through treatment, and then she decided that she was done with the treatments. And Chuck and I went to visit her in the hospital, and I wanted to convince her to try to stay longer. We weren't ready to let her go. And I'll never forget her saying, "Listen, when are the trees the most beautiful?" And I said, "Well, in the fall, when their colors are so gorgeous." And she said, "Yes, that's right, but they have to fall to earth, don't they? The tree doesn't die, but the leaves are going to fall, and yet we know that when spring comes, there's going to be new growth." And she said, "That's what I want to be. I want to be the most beautiful I've ever been as my body is dying and those leaves are falling, because I know in the spring, I know that I have new life coming. I'm going to heaven, and I can't wait to get there." Friends, because of Christmas, we have the hope of, as I said, what my friend Susan Hunt calls dying grace, that he will walk with us. "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for he is with us." And so as you are going about your days, and some of you are facing some really, really hard times, maybe your own terminal illness or the illness of others, remember this Christmas hope, that he gives us the grace, that he promises he will never leave us, never forsake us, and walks with us into heaven. I'm Sharon Betters. Thank you so much for joining us for these 12 days of Christmas hope.